trampoline Sunday, so didn't find out till yesterday.
Ooh, trampolines.
All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go and call to order the March 11th Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Today, we've got Mr. Doug Wadsworth from New Hope Christian Church to give our opening prayer. Morning, Doug.
Will you bow with me, please? Father, we love you so much, and just thank you, Lord, for a beautiful spring morning today, Father. As we come and just join together, I'm so grateful for the ones that serve in our county offices, the commissioners, the county council, all the department heads, Father, just cast the vision for the county. And I just pray that you would continue to give them that vision, give them discernment and discretion as they try to make decisions to make this county the best place to live in the world, Father. As we don't have to go too far to see things. They're just in much disarray, but we are so blessed, Father, to have great leaders. And we ask your direction for them each and every day. We thank you for each and every county employee that serves us faithfully each and every day. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. And an avid runner and swimmer at that. Right. All right, next up, we've got the courthouse renovation update. Derek. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So, quick update. First of all, happy spring. I'm sure everybody's enjoying the warm weather. It's beautiful out. It's going to be another beautiful day. So as far as progress is concerned, overall, we're sitting about 87% complete. It's crunch time. We got a lot of finishes going on. Get into a little bit more specific stuff. Exterior-wise, got a couple light fixtures outside, a couple of cameras to install. The roof has been done for a while now, getting that thing cleaned up. Outside as well, we got the equipment pad going in. That'll house the emergency generator. Melk is currently working on that. Moving inside, third floor, it's looking like a finished product. We got paint done. Carpet is about 90% complete. They've got a few rooms here and there. LVT's down. We got all of that laid down, protected. Light fixtures are going in. Communications cable has been pulled. Fire alarms have been pulled. Sitting there waiting. 3 of the 5 electrical panels have been installed and terminated, so that's a good deal. Second floor, we're trailing behind that a little bit. Finishes are going on, about halfway done with the flooring across the whole floor. Electrical cables being pulled. Communications started, fire alarms started. First floor is following the same pattern. In the atrium, that's been a big concern of ours. It's first thing you see when you walk in. So plaster patching is going on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor. As you walk in and look up, you'll start seeing paint as well. So it's looking really good. I'm very happy with how it's turning out so far. So that's really where we're at. Any questions as far as progress before I get into financial stuff?
So we did change the hours. Tabor Owens is coming in earlier, staying later.
They do have that opportunity to work there. A couple of their trades have been taking advantage of that.
Okay.
Pushing more for that. They've asked for it, so I'm going to hold them accountable to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on progress? All right. So financial-wise, we're still in really good shape. Budget, nothing has changed. We're still holding there. One thing that I haven't spoke about in previous meetings is a soft cost contingency. As a few things have come up in the past, probably a month or so, making sure we have that money available. So there's 2 contingency buckets that are available. There's a soft cost contingency and construction contingency. The soft cost contingency is not technically construction related. It's furniture, IT stuff, things to furnish the building. That's what that bucket of money is for. The construction contingency is to handle anything that comes up, stuff that's missed in design, stuff that's discovered as construction progresses. That's what that bucket of money is for. So the soft cost contingency, we started with $184,211. We're currently sitting at $68,895. That's with everything taken into account over the past 2-3 weeks that we've discussed through email. The construction contingency, we are currently sitting at $157,000, $158,000 is where we're at. So still in really good shape. If things were to come up, but with 13% of the project remaining, I feel pretty good with where we're at.
And did we resolve on who's covering the cost of that severed fiber?
Yes, Melkay will be handling that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That was a miss on their part. They got a little little trigger happy and during demolition. So
Yeah, things happen.
part of it, but yeah, they'll take care of that.
All right, thank you.
Any questions on financials?
No, your panel's gonna show up April 7th? Yes, great.
That I hold that same sentiment. I will believe it when I see a tracking number for it. So I'll keep you guys posted as soon as we get it, though.
Appreciate it. Perfect. Any questions, commissioners?
No, me and Commissioner Cook was talking earlier, your communication with us been great. Really appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
What's the lead after that panel? You said it's 90 days, is that what you said? How much time
Once you get the
do you estimate?
Once we get that panel,
Yeah.
MLK's got about two and a half weeks to install that panel, get all the feeds terminated into that panel. Then testing after that, there's communication systems, security systems, fire suppression, I'm trying to think there's a number of systems that have to go in that have to be tested once we get that power. I'm thinking that's probably about 3 to 4 weeks-ish. Been working with commissioners and Dale as far as moving is concerned and coordinating that process. I think we have a good plan thus far, along with Hudson's Furniture, getting all that stuff moved in. So we got about a little bit over a month once we get that power. That everything's tested out, owner training, commissioning, all that fun stuff is done. So,
Very great, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next up, everyone should have received a copy of the meeting minutes from February 25th. Just skip Dale. Oh, poor Dale. Dale, come on up, buddy. We got the monitor invoice. I think everyone received that. I saw some email communication coming back, so are there any questions for Dale regarding this?
And it is already included in the
Yeah, it's
numbers he gave you there.
Already in the soft cost, so I'd entertain a motion to approve. This is for a variety of things, a total of $16,411 just for the AV IT department.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0.
That you doing separate, or is that all, both of them? That was all of it? Access points and the,
Yeah,
B&H, yeah.
yeah, I got it. I think that's included in here too. Yeah,
the 16 was just for the B and H. There's 4 on the,
yeah, B&H and then Trace 3.
to trace through for the 4 things with it.
Yeah, so the Trace 3 is $4,501.60 in addition to the $16,000.
Yes.
So amend the motion. Yeah, entertain a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
That was easy.
Thanks, Dale. Okay, next up, we got Highway Department update. Morning, Chris.
Yeah, we got the meeting minutes.
Sorry, I'm trying to sign my name and do 2 things at once. And I can barely do 1 thing at once. How are you?
All right.
Back to the meeting minutes. Were there any changes or revisions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, just project updates, just real quick, I guess, we did get awarded the 2025-1 Community Crossings Matching Grant. That was up to $1.5 million. And I think with the way they do it, and there's 2 call-ins a year, but the way they do it is we give an engineer's estimate, and then they give us the award based on our estimate. But then when the bids come in, sometimes the bids come in a little bit cheaper, which is a good thing, but then that leaves money out there that you can't get depending on what call it is. But with this one, we did the engineer's estimate. We don't have the bids yet. We've just now advertised for bids to get opened. And NDOT had contacted us and asked us I think with all the federal requirements or changes and the bills that are currently being done, they're going to change some of the CCMG and change how it's divided up. So they asked us to get our bids out and get under contract with the contractor to do our job. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here, but before they have a shutdown. I think they have a shutdown in June or something like that. They wanted us to do this as soon as we could and get under contract. So the CCMG that we've been awarded, if we fulfill all of our obligations and get under contract, is just a little over $1.1 million. And that was to do the County Road 100 West from 600 North to County Road 358, Maysville Road from US 50 to National Highway, 150 North from State Road 57 to Sugarland Road from 150 North to Washington's Corporation Line, 75 East from 150 North to 250 North, 200 North from 75 East to 200 East, 100 South from Troy Road to State Road 257, and 11th Street from 100 South to Washington's Corporation Line. I forget how many miles that totaled up to. I got it on a different page, but, so we've got awarded that. We're gonna try to get it under contract. And then that's why I'm saying this now, so when we open bids at the next meeting, that you guys won't have to worry about me saying anything except for accept and leave. Because I know you guys got a busy meeting planned that day with the joint meeting.
So this grant, this project's gonna be slightly different just because we're gonna do several pieces and legs, so to
Yeah.
speak. We're able to do them all with
Yeah.
one grant, yeah.
And it was actually, some of it's a continuation of what we're doing right now or getting ready to do. And if we get these bids in and get them back and get under contract, get our check from NDOT, then I think the last year's award that we got from Community Crossings to 2024-2 was Edwards Port Road, which is 100 West, from the sports complex to 600 North. And part of this one is Edwards Port Road from 600 North to 358. So we get this done, and the contractor would possibly do all of this in the same year. So that's some of the conversations we've had. And then Old 50 from Washington's Corporation Line to 300 West was last year's, and then part of this year's is 300 West from Old 50 to Bypass 50. And it's something that we have done this past year was GPC on 300 West from US 50 or Bypass 50 going south. So this all ties in together. And I think NDOT likes that. And I think that's why we keep getting awarded what we're doing.
So regarding Old 50, there west of town in Maysville, as far as the bridge and the 150 West intersection goes, are we gonna overlay everything but those areas, or are those projects further down the road?
The bridge on Old 50 is gonna start in May, I guess.
So that'll be done before we do the overlay.
Well, and then I'm having a meeting on the 21st with the contractors that's gonna do our CCMG grant, the contractor that's doing the bridge.
Yeah.
And try to tie that all together, so when they pave it, they'll just pave it straight through.
Great.
The roundabout is 150, that intersection improvement project. That's not scheduled till 2029 or 2030.
Thought it was
So
done.
that will probably just be paved through
Yeah,
instead of leaving a skipper there.
yeah, that makes,
Yeah. And paving it through, we can put some more stop bars and some lines and, see if we can't do something with some pavement markings to help make that intersection, continue to make that intersection a little safer.
well, that's a good point. No one will come back and listen to this meeting 4 years from now, but whenever we're out there tearing up good asphalt to build that roundabout,
Yeah.
today we have an option. Do we skip it and you have this beautiful road and then you have this rough patch and people for 4 years are wondering, why in the world would you leave this rough patch? Or do you just pave through it? And then people will say, why in the world are you tearing up good asphalt?
Yeah.
So you pick your criticism.
And I've actually weighed that out and it's actually cheaper just
Yeah.
to pave through it. By the time we tried to mill it on both ends and match it up, it would cost us more time and labor to make the new asphalt match into roughly a 200-foot section to skip.
So when
And then,
when you guys are getting yelled at in 2030,
We'll
just
blame it on you.
go back and listen to this
Yeah.
meeting, and
It's all Nathan's idea.
it'll all make sense.
and then another part of a couple things I haven't done for you guys yet that you've asked me is I haven't sent the email out to the council and the commissioners about the salt barn and how that affected our winter operations or improved it or whether our investment was worth it or not. I will get that done, but it just seems like it goes from one thing to the next. Another thing is just a little update. I've got some rough numbers here, but since the community crossings has started in 2016, Daviess County, through the Highway Department, applying for these grants, we've got $9,232,000 in just community crossings grants. That's what we've been awarded. Some of them change a little bit when you actually get your bids. And then since 2014 overall with the grants that we've got a little, this is the big one was, I think there was $30,000 on that we received for the Campbellburg Road project. So overall with the community crossings and other federal aid grants, we've got just a little over $57 million through the Highway Department and our grant funding applications and your guys' support. And I think the auditor's office doing a lot of paperwork for us and staying on us to submit everything that we're supposed to submit. So,
Well, the real reason, and you won't share this, but the real reason, and just being involved at the state association for a number of years, the credibility that our highway department has at NDOT, because there's a lot of highway departments that are better, and there's many that are not nearly up to us. So they know that Daviess County's highway department, they do things the right way. So when you guys submit a bid, there's a lot of credibility behind that because of what you and what Phil have done. So
and we try to do what they're intending them funds to be for.
yeah, you do a great job.
And then, so on that note, I wanted to say that, but also the federal CCMG and the grants are changing a little bit. They're getting more competitive. There's been several agencies that do not have asset management. If you don't have asset management, you don't qualify for federal funding. They're talking about if you don't have will tax, you don't qualify for federal funding. So there's a lot of that stuff. As we keep going, they're going to get more competitive. So if I don't get one of them, that's why. But also on that note, I got something from NDOT on our. I just read a little bit of it. They sent me a letter. There were over $430 million of total project cost estimates applied for, with $330 million being requested from NDOT. Currently, with the minimal federal funding and the inflation, PE numbers have well exceeded what we usually budget for each fiscal year. The local rural programs budget for 26 is currently estimated to be around $160 million. This is from Kathy Eaton McCallum from NDOT. She's the one that actually awards these funding opportunities to the LPAs. So she's looking for all possible angles and ways to stretch these dollars to award as many projects that she can. So at this time, she would like to ask if any of you are able to fund preliminary engineering with your local funds for the projects that we've applied for. Saying this does not mean that we will not award your projects. If you're able to contribute a different percentage than the required 20% match, that would help us as well. So she's looking for as many options to be as creative as she can to award as many projects. So right now we currently got a couple projects in. Bridge number 95, which is in Ragglesville, east of Ragglesville, for rehabilitation. And then we got a set of guardrails on the West Boggs Causeways on County Road 1200 East that was wanting to put in. So to show, I've emailed some of you guys, but to show our willingness to work with NDOT and not just to stick our feet in the mud and not do anything, we've decided to, so on the causeways, we got a South Causeway, which is a long causeway. We got an application for that. We got a North Causeway, which is a little shorter, probably less, I don't know, less work or complicated to do it. And then we got our bridge. If we take over all the PE on the bridge project, which is the preliminary engineering, it would add another $400,000 to our commitment to that project. Right now we're at $500,000 to do a rehab, but if we add 400, we'd be up to $1 million. And I think if we're going to do $1 million, we need to do a bridge replacement instead of a rehab. So I stuck to not adding any additional PE to our local cost. If we get awarded, we get awarded. It is a good project. And then on the guardrails, to show a good faith effort, we kept the south guardrail, which is the one that we intended to do to begin with. And I've asked them to go ahead and cancel or put our north causeway application to the following year. So that shows we're willing to work for them, and that gives them more money to award other projects to other LPAs. And that would save them roughly, their cost on that would be just right at $1 million. So that's where we're at on that, so I don't know how it'll turn out, but that's all I got, really.
Commissioners, any questions? No. Excellent. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, we got Jamie Chapman. Morning, Jamie.
Chris.
For the, I think of the new, like the credit card swiper for the treasurer's office.
Morning. Yes, I'm here to get permission and the contract signed with Auto Agent, which is credit card chip reader. Currently, we don't have one. Ours is down. It was in the office when Elaine was here, Wellman. I've talked to Dale, and it's compatible with our Lao software, and they recommend this vendor, and we're having a webinar tomorrow, and it will be tied in with our escrow too, Municipay. So, and Dale, he didn't see any problem with it. We've been real happy with our software. They're only $229 a piece. I'll use my money in my budget. We could get two, just see how it goes, but other than that,
No, that's great. We definitely want to make it easy for the taxpayer. You're right. We'll get them in, get them out, so.
and I think it'll evolve where it will be easier as time goes by with the payment, with the QR code. We're not really quite there yet, but, so that'll be another day, but anyway.
No worries. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you. Did you get the to sign? Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we got Sheriff Allison for Operation Pullover, which will be conducted in the northern half of the county.
Yeah, Reeve Township. Reeve Township only. It's the Reeve Township Operation Pullover.
We could probably use it.
Yeah, we're asking for 50,000. We're gonna try to do that again this year. We asked for 50 last year. We got 22, so it'll be somewhere around finances. So just a grant where we can do overtime to enforce traffic laws, seatbelt, OVW patrols.
No match on that? Or is there a match?
Yeah, this is something we've done historically in the past since,
I think we have to come up with like the Social Security enough money, but
Yeah.
that's dropping the bucket.
yeah, I think it's a good,
Yeah.
none of us like to be pulled over, right?
Right.
But I think it's a necessary process, and yeah, we've done it in the past. But commissioners, how do you feel about that?
Sounds great. We'll just keep it on the south end of the county.
All right, Reeve Township, perfect.
Hornetsville's off limits.
Yeah, Hornetsville's off limits.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sheriff. Okay, next up, I think we have Ms. Jody Berry regarding the Highway 58 and 550 East intersection. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Of
I'm
course.
Jody Berry. I'm superintendent at North Daviess Community Schools. I wanted to come down today to share some concerns and to plant some seeds in your thoughts as expansion in that I-69 exit there right by our corporation take place. First and foremost, North Daviess does not want to stifle expansion of businesses in our area. We welcome growth, but we've become aware of a potential new business right on the corner of Highway 58 and County Road 550 East. The address is 5290 East State Road 58.
Is that old rundown house right there?
Yeah, it's what we call the eyesore. Yeah, right there on the corner. It is adjacent to the southwest corner of our property. To give you a visual, the football side of our district, where the football field is. We're being informed that there's a potential convenience mart / truck stop going in there. I know zoning laws, et cetera, don't have a whole lot of say of what we can and can't prevent, but I want to plant some seeds on any influence, whether it's the commissioners, whether it's NDOT, whoever I need to speak to, of things they need to think about. I have 20 buses that use County Road 550 East to enter our property. I have 139 high school student drivers.
Do you have these written down?
Yes, I do.
Okay, if I can have a copy of
Yep.
that, then I'm not gonna write them all down.
That's fine.
Okay.
I will get that to you.
Thank you.
So 139 high school student drivers. We require our high school drivers to utilize 550 East to enter our property because I have over 100 parents who drop off their elementary kids off of the highway on our south entrance. If we allowed everybody to use our south entrance, we back up on the highway. Officer Louis Gabriel can attest to that. He has to run traffic there every morning. In addition to that, so we have 20 buses, 139 student drivers, and over 100 parents just at the elementary. I probably have another 50 that enter the high school and drop off junior high and non-drivers up there. So a lot of traffic that I'm concerned of. I haven't seen specific decided on plans, but I'm being told that they're considering the entrance into the new business to come off of 550 East.
Okay.
I have concerns about that road. When it rains a lot, it floods. I have concerns after school hours, if we have a practice or a bus departure for an ECA event that doesn't leave until 3:30 or 4. We have a lot of kids that stay after to catch those buses or to participate in those events. I guarantee you they're gonna walk down to that convenience mart to get snacks and drinks and whatever. Crossing that county road with a lot of traffic, I have a concern with that. I'm sure NDOT surely will do a traffic study, but they need to be considering the traffic, not just of community, but to our facility and the clientele that we have on campus. If they're allowing the entrance to come off of that 550 East, I have grave concerns with our safety of our kids.
You'd rather have the entrance come off the highway there? If it goes in?
Yeah, and I'm not sure they will agree to that just because of the proximity to the bypass or the overpass.
Because of the traffic count on 558.
It's kind of a no-win situation. I know the property lot is only like 2.5 acres. They can't even get further north to avoid our entrance to our school because they don't own that property. So I don't know what the answer is,
Sure.
but I would be remiss to not stress there are safety concerns for the kids from North Daviess Community Schools.
Okay.
We were casually also approached, just so that the commissioners are aware, casually approached about sharing infrastructure. Currently in that area, I know there are no sewer lines that attach to the Elnor sewer system. At this time, North Daviess will not entertain anybody sharing our infrastructure. We own our forced main line from our property all the way to the Elnor plant. It was not built to allow additional people to join in. It was built to handle our peak load for our 1,100 kids plus staff.
Yeah.
So just to make you aware of that as well.
Sure, so yeah, I'm just somewhat familiar with this project, not extremely. So what we control is the driveway permits off of 550 East, and then there is a mathematical formula, and it'll be the lesser of two evils based on traffic count. But this information is extremely important. We haven't been approached yet for the driveway permits, because they're probably working down through the utilities, and one of those may be the hurdle. So if and when we do get approached with the highway permits, and obviously the traffic study, and we'll reach out to LTAP, which is the organization up at Purdue with their civil engineering team, and ensure that the traffic flow can accommodate it to the best of its ability. As far as the pedestrian traffic, we'll definitely try to take that into account, but that one's gonna be a little tougher, because like Washington High School, and they all run down to Chuckles, and it's, I don't wanna say there's no answer, but this is the time to address it, so certainly appreciate it, and commissioners, if you have any comments.
No, just, just like Jody said, we wanna see new growth along the interstate there, but we've gotta keep the kids, try to keep them safe there, because they are gonna try to travel over there, that's for sure, so.
And I agree, Washington Junior High has a gas station. They at least have stoplights to accommodate
Slow down
passing.
traffic.
And then North Elementary, I know they also have a gas station close. I know they have at least stop signs and a traffic guard during peak hours. So,
I talked to Bob a little bit. Is there anything you can add to that, Bob? Is there any? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I do appreciate meeting with Bob and Jill as well last week regarding this.
There's a stop sign right there, and that's where they're going, right?
There's a stop sign exiting
The
our
highway,
property,
right,
and there's a
right.
stop sign obviously entering Highway
Right.
58.
Yeah.
And there's just not a lot of,
How many people roll through that stop sign? you think?
yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate the
59 Street,
information,
right?
and we'll
Yeah.
definitely get it to Chris, and whenever it, we can go ahead and reach out to NDOT and express some of our concerns just with 550 East. And yeah, we appreciate the information.
and I'll get you those hard numbers.
Yeah, that would be great, yeah, and you have my email.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in, Jody. Okay, next up, we got the zoning ordinance certification. We had asked the APC to meet and lay out the pros and cons based off their expertise on keeping zoning, and their pros and cons of removing zoning was the request. I think a lot of that got discussed during the meeting. And then they voted 0 to 7 with 0 to 7 against removing zoning, and then 1 abstaining. So we wanted their advice first, and then it was gonna come back to the commissioners for us to discuss. And I think this is a good process every so often to review what we put in place, because we implement and forget unless someone starts complaining, and then you wake up and you have 1,000 ordinances that we don't even know what we have anymore. So there was a number of people involved. I did ask everyone to, for me personally, because one thing I asked the commissioners to do, which they were gonna do anyway, was to evaluate this on your own. Because we all three have different opinions, and we all have different networks of people, different perspectives. Go into it with an open mind, and just fully vet it out from a 30,000-foot corporate level, so to speak. So I think that's what we've all done. So with that, I'll open it up to the commissioners for any discussion on how you feel we should progress forward with this.
I was at the meeting. I came into this more so leaning to get rid of it. And after I've kind of talked to, well, almost, anybody that it affected, I'd seen how important it is to keep. I'm at the point where I think we should keep it. I kind of had trouble finding anybody that was wanting to get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't know who he's talking to. If I talk to a lot of Amish, they don't want it. And they serve a big part of our county. And Westgate's a big concern for everybody. That seems to get addressed, and I believe they have their CCRs, they also have a 3-mile radius, and that was brought out in the meeting. Part of that CCR also, Bryant was saying in that meeting that they looked at our ordinances, so they didn't want to duplicate it, which tells me that I think they can duplicate it if they wanted to. If he says they looked at it and didn't want to, right? That means that could happen. They also have thing that goes through the commander, right? Which I'm sure the commander, I don't know all the inner workings, but I'm guessing the commander has a person or board or something that probably reports to, right? Like he or she's probably not listening to every single thing coming through, right? So that addresses that, in my opinion, which means if that was a concern, then what are we still doing with it, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. We've got the 2-mile Montgomery and Washington that almost touch, right? As far as, which means their ordinances go to that line. That covers 69 here, obviously, because the annex doesn't cover Eleanor, obviously. But even with what Jody was just saying about the school system and stuff, even with zoning, that doesn't take away if it's commercial or not, right? Then they can do things with commercial, right? The ag's a big thing. That's a big pusher with Farm Bureau, which I totally understand. But we also have to look at the other side where you have farmers who are trying to sell because they don't have kids who are taking over, and now they're pigeonholed to sell just to ag, right? They can't sell commercial, they can't split it off to things. They have to come in and get an ordinance for that, right? Have to come in, or variance, right? So to me, again, I've got to continue to look at and fight for freedoms of property owners, freedoms of our citizens. And to me, this kind of takes away from that. So that's why I'm pushing for that pretty heavily, is because of that. So, you know, they had to change the zoning ordinance just for Amish to build, right? Which again, makes me think, then why do we have it, right? If we keep having to make it less and less, why are we fighting so hard to keep? I think Bob said it at the very beginning. He used it about 4 times, and he said control. And he said, if we want to control the land, and then he used that word about 4 times through there, that's why I'm fighting against this, is because of control. I think owners should have control, not bureaucrats or even the government. So.
And kind of the way how I went about it, I kind of went to department heads, Westgate, the people I felt like that it was going to affect, the council, kind of everybody that I'd spoke to in that aspect of it was one thinks we should keep it. The farmers, they felt like it protected them a little bit on things. That's just kind of where I'm at too. So
Sure.
And I kind of feel like.
Did you hear the Westgate stuff, though? Do you agree
Yes.
with what I was pointing out there? That seems like that could be
On
protected.
some point, but I kind of understand, it just seems like it's important to them also, that's.
Yeah, I appreciate this. As you know, when we approached this topic and we opened it up, I knew the process was going to be interesting, because almost all the comments we receive, and perhaps most of the comments that we each make are mostly accurate. And I'm talking about Commissioner Gabhart too. So you have to take all these comments and kind of piece and parcel. And so to me, the less restrictions, the less bureaucracy, the better we are. So I was going into this with a mindset of, I got elected January 1st of 15, right a year after zoning took effect. I went through the town hall sessions, and zoning was all about protecting I-69, the growth on the intersections, and then Westgate. And that was almost the only points that were made. The Washington intersection's taken care of. In my opinion, the Odin intersection with the school, because you can't build certain explicit businesses within distances of the school, it's taken care of. And then with Westgate and the CCR documents and just being involved in the inner workings of that for the past 5 years, our zoning and the CCRs and the 3-mile radius, in my opinion, takes care of all of Westgate. So all the boxes were checked. The problem I ran into is I put my email in the newspaper. I probably have the most publicized cell phone number of any commissioner in history. 1, because of my own doing, and 2, for participating and canceling the Bar Reeve Washington game during COVID. You all are some basketball fanatics out there. think there was 300 text messages I got. They were very clever. And again, I don't want to make fun of that. It was a very tough situation for everybody. So now, as I think from 30,000 feet down, I received 0 emails. Nobody reached out to me telling me to, no one emailed me telling me to keep it or telling me to get rid of it. So the general population in general are just maybe used to it. There's no general divisiveness with zoning as we have it. The creosote plant, which, who knows, maybe it would have been one of the best businesses we ever had in Daviess. But while it was coming through and we were evaluating the process, evaluating the company, we were really thankful we had zoning so that the local folks could voice their opinions on that plan. Now, like I said, if it would have came in, it could have been the best plan possible. I'm sure we could go by a lot of businesses who said, you know, that if they wanted to boycott that business. So, but just living through it, the zoning allowed us to do that. The divisiveness with just some of our colleagues. So some of our elected colleagues, and again, with all due respect to our colleagues, ultimately it's whatever the commissioners think. We need to make the decision that we feel is best. But as I bundle all that together, I'm just not sure there's enough issues that we're trying to fix to counterbalance this divisiveness that theoretically it could create. Because if we do repeal zoning, we got to be banded together because there's going to be issues it creates, and there's going to be ordinances that we're going to have to create on the fly, just like on the Amish population. We copied its ordinances from another county, we try to adopt it 2 hours and 15. But then once you start using it, you realize, okay, maybe they do need a 10-foot setback instead of a 15. So there have been a handful of modifications because they do want to make sure it's conducive because they're not trying to prevent that. But you don't really know what it's doing until you actually implement it. So, I mean, I went into it 5248 to get rid of it. Now I'm like 5248 to keep it. I just don't think it's the right time to repeal it and create this division because we're all going to have to be united because this is going to be an easy thing to sabotage. If we repeal it and we're not all on the same page.
Who's sabotaging it? If it's
Well,
sabotaged
if someone wants to keep it and they're part of our team, and then we create, then there's issues. Sometimes the issues are not handled the most appropriate way. But anyway, I don't want to get too far into that. But the creosote plant, 0 people responding to me that they want to get rid of it. So
or keep it.
Or keep. So therefore they don't care. So if they don't care that we have it and it's not causing any significant personal issues, then in my opinion, now is not the time to get rid of it. So that would be my decision.
Well, I would say that we always have to, in my opinion, as government, look at how we can become less, right? As far as giving more power to the people, no matter what, right? In my opinion. We know that government gets bigger and bigger the longer it goes, right? And then remembering back to when zoning got put in place, there was quite a few people that didn't want it, right? It was a fight to go about in the public wise, right?
I don't remember that, but
Okay. Well, I guess you weren't there.
I was in all the
after,
meetings
right?
in 14.
Okay.
So I was there, yeah.
Okay. So as we look at trying to make government smaller, it makes me just take a step back to say, then why keep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I'm at, looking at it.
Sure, and we definitely understand it and keep that mission going. I'm not saying never, it's just not now for me. So doesn't mean you're wrong, and doesn't mean I'm right, and doesn't mean Mike's wrong or he's right, but totally understand the philosophy. So theoretically and philosophically, I totally agree. But practically and logistically, I've just done this long enough to know that we're not ready to repeal it.
Because we're afraid of people sabotaging stuff?
I'm not afraid of anything. And I don't mean that in a Bravo type of way. But 30 years of leadership and 11 years doing this, this is not the time to repeal zoning.
I had nobody come to me wanting to keep it, just kind of like what you said, you know, I had, everybody that came to me was, you know, to keep the zoning, so.
Yeah, and again, I went back and forth with zoning light, well, why even have it? Get rid of it. So I went, it is, yeah, it was close. So anyway.
I did run on ending zoning, of course, because of these reasons, and did get elected, so there's obviously some people that were okay with that, you know what I mean?
And you're
So-
standing with your word, and we're standing with ours,
Sure,
so
sure.
appreciate the civil conversation, and appreciate,
Can we look at then bringing zoning in-house, bringing the permitting process in-house at minimum?
yeah, we can evaluate that, sure, absolutely.
Can we look at a time frame to look at that?
We will, yeah, I think we do it by 7/1, which was our initial deadline
Okay.
for this.
What dates? The other thing I would say is, under the 600 series, which the certification is required, you all have 60 days to evaluate this. I mean, obviously, you can make a decision today if you want to, but
Yeah, I think that's what we did.
Yeah, pretty sure that's what just happened, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, though.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming there's no second for any motion today, so.
why don't you accept that document from them and maintain I mean, if the motion is keep it status quo and evaluate bringing processes in-house, that's changing the process a little bit, but if you
Sure.
want to.
So yeah, I'll entertain a motion to retain the zoning ordinance as is.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Keith. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye, yeah.
Motion passes 2-1. I'll entertain a motion to accept the APC certificate into record. Motion made by Commissioner
Keith.
Keith?
Yeah, so moved, sorry.
I do have a second on the APC.
Yeah, that one's fine, yeah.
We have a second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then I'll entertain a motion to evaluate, bringing the zoning in-house, evaluate it.
Correct.
Just want to make sure the city doesn't get too far
Correct,
ahead
just
of us
looking
here.
at it.
There's a
right.
lot of, what this does is it sets a lot of things in motion, and then we might have a decision made for us
Sure,
that we may not want. So that's why I want to cautiously word this, that we'll evaluate bringing the zoning in-house, but the city, as far as ease of use,
contract's still there. yeah.
has done an incredible job taking care of the county folks. So there's no issue in the customer service part of it, because things get out and they get so distorted, and then, so I
I'll make a
didn't
motion.
entertain that motion.
To evaluate.
Commissioner Cook to evaluate. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Okay, now we go from that to an Amazon business account. Welcome to the life of a commissioner. So-
So that is in regards to the Association of Indiana Counties has partnered with Amazon, and for at least the next 2 years, and it'll be reevaluated at that time with Amazon, but they are allowing, we will be the second state in the United States that they have partnered with to give free Prime to government entities. So through AIC, I'm just needing your blessing for us to be able to partner through AIC with Amazon to help that cost savings to the county.
I wanted to end it on an item that unites everybody, so I was like, who could be against Amazon, right? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0. Is there anything from the audience? Commissioners, you have anything? I'd entertain a motion to approve payroll claims and to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0. Have a great week, everyone. We're on run next week.
Yeah, no, it'll be
So,
fine.
so I inadvertently got everything all bundled and I skipped